very, very decent on the European Tour stage. You
First
quite like
leg,
that.
Cristo to throw first. Game on.
James Wade currently at number 11 on the Pro Tour Order of Merit. He's number 10 on the overall Order of Merit, the world ranking, based on 2 years of results.
96.
Making his 6th appearance on the European Tour this year. He's qualified for every single one of the first 6 Euro events of 2018. He's made at least the semis. Well, sorry, he's made the semis on at least 3 occasions as well, or at least the semis on 3 occasions, I should say.
I think that's some statement in itself, just to qualify for the first 6, but then to go on to reach so many semi-finals, a beaten finalist last weekend at the hands of Michael van Gerwen. And James Wade is quietly going about his business, and we might well be seeing the return of the machine, although he would deny that. He said in his interview after losing the final last weekend with Dan that it wasn't the James Wade of old. This is the new James Wade.
It's a reinvented James Wade, I think. I mentioned it earlier, you know, he suffered a couple of really significant disappointments at the turn of the year. First round exit at the World Championship, losing to Keegan Brown, lost his place in the Premier League, but then he gave a fairly swift sign of what was to come, perhaps, by reaching the final of the First Players Championship event in Barnsley. His first Pro Tour final for over a year, that, by the way. Now, he lost that by 6 legs to 4 against Michael van Gerwen, but en route he averaged a sensational 111 in a 6-0 win over John Anderson. Had a really good performance against Rob Cross as well, beat him 6-5, and then overcame Ryan Joyce in the semi-finals. And I think the way he's just gone about rebuilding himself, didn't feel too down in the dumps. Reyes looking at double 16 here, just broke off momentarily as he takes the first. And I think that sort of attitude has also seen him rewarded with some stints on the World Series this year as well. It's a little bit of a recognition from the PDC about the way he has just effectively got over those disappointments and re-established himself, reinvented himself, call it what you will. It's a lesson to anybody else out there as well about how to do it. You know, when you do suffer a setback, you have a bit of a knock, suffer a bit of a downturn. James Wade has demonstrated very well how to go about reviving yourself.
I think in terms of performance levels, it was more than a bit of a downturn as well for James Wade. We were seeing things like James Wade averaging less than 80 at times in European Tour matches and Pro Tour games last year, which was unheard of. He had this little hop in his throw. He's put things right. He's
60.
Working with a new manager. I think he's had a little bit of coaching as well, and he's just been willing to accept a little bit of help.
125.
And he seems to have a very different outlook at the moment as well. He seems to be a much happier, but when you just see him around backstage and just the way he sort of carries himself at the moment, he seems to be in a fairly good place right now. Certainly a stark contrast to how he was last year on the European Tour. When you did see him around on the European Tour, it was a very different James Wade to what we're seeing now.
From speaking to him a couple of times this year,
150.
I think that he's looking at a bigger picture. Many dart players will take every single match as a be-all and end-all, and James Wade, although of course it hurts when you get beaten, he's looking at returning
60.
to winning major titles, perhaps towards the end of this year. But Reyes here looking to break. Double 8 to do it. And he does it. And a little bit like the last match, me and Dan were probably guilty of talking Adrian Lewis up too much at the start of it, and Jan Dekker ended up winning the match.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give Cristo Reyes his due as well. I mean, okay, first the downside about Reyes, he hasn't featured in any of the last 4 European Tour events. Was he around last weekend? Oh, no,
I think we saw him in Austria, actually, didn't we? It wasn't last weekend.
100.
Pretty sure we saw him in Austria and he reached the last 16.
Of course he did, yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, I mean, that is the only time that he reached the last 16 on the Euro Tour. He's reached it once on the floor as well.
Yeah, that's right. He'd failed to qualify for 4 tournaments prior to Austria. There was one at the end of last year, the first 3 of this year. He got back in business in Austria.
140.
So he too is going through a process right now.
And actually, Reyes has been the Spanish #1 for some time, but his profile the last 6 months or so has kind of been overshadowed by Tony Alcinas.
Yeah. And also Reyes is one of these players, he did get used to the idea of being a seed for some of these European Tour events, but now he's back into the qualifiers, so he's having to realign his schedule, if you like, in order to be involved in these in the first place.
It's an interesting race for the seedings. They're all bunched up from about
21.
11, which is where James Wade is, right down to about 24 where Adrian Lewis is. There's plenty of scope for movement there.
Yeah, it's very congested, isn't it? But Reyes, I mean, we know, I mean, he's done some great things on the European Tour in the past. It wasn't that long ago that he was making back-to-back semi-finals, which he did during the midway point of last year.
Well, Wade has responded well to this early deficit.
Are you sure to the third leg?
And that has been halved.
Yeah, it's a break back for James Wade as well. Yeah, Reyes made the semi-finals of the European match play, then made the semis in Austria last year as well.
Fourth leg, James to throw first. Game on.
So just a reminder of some of the standout results from the first day of action here at the Dutch Darts Masters. Terry Jenkins seeing off Mike De Decker to set up a tasty encounter with Michael van Gerwen tomorrow. Cameron Menzies knocking out Germany's Kevin Munch and will face Dave Chisholm. Ian White against Kyle Anderson, a tasty second round tie after Anderson saw off one of the home nation qualifiers, Christian Kist. Peter Wright against James Wilson. If James Wilson can play like he did against Johan Engstrom earlier on, averaging over 100, he could really give Snakebite a tough test. Same goes for Wayne Jones against Kim Huybrechts, a man who's been out of form. But Cristo Reyes on the money. And another point to note for those that haven't been with us all day, Rob Cross has withdrawn from the tournament, the world champion, and number 3 seed before it won't be here. So Steve Lennon's win against Roby John Rodriguez earlier on has taken on extra significance because Lennon is straight through to the last 16.
100.
Yeah, it's an argument there that segment of the draw has just opened up a little bit maybe for the others that are in the frame. Simon Whitlock, Mentor Sluvic in that particular segment as well.
Well, James Wade has all 3 in that particular segment, but it matters not if Reyes can finish 87. Needs a ball to do it, and he's going to have to go for it.
62.
Because Wade, nothing is safe. It's one of the best finishers in the game.
Yeah, he certainly is. He'll fancy his chances, but not anymore. And he, well, the grimace on his face tells you what he thinks about that first dart.
44.
And just 44 scored as well, so he's not made any significant inroads there either. Reyes looking at 25 now to re-establish this 2-leg lead, and he has the break back straight away. And he's halfway there, 3-1 to the good.
Fifth leg, Cristo to throw first. Game on.
Well, are we going to see a shocking finale for the first round? As Reyes fills it up again and see 2 of the most decorated and high-profile players in PDC darts depart the Dutch Darts Masters in round 1, back-to-back. Adrian Lewis has just been beaten. You can see James Wade in the background trying to gee himself up, but he might not be able to do anything about this. Reyes down to 181 after 6 with the aid of 5 perfect darts consecutively.
Yeah, and Wade hasn't suffered a first round defeat in Europe this year. His earliest exit was at the German Open when he lost to Mervyn King 6-3. Made the final day as well in Austria, losing to Clayton that day. Although then that had some perspective put on it when Clayton went on to lift the trophy. Wade adrift here as well on the Reyes throw by some distance as well, you have to say, and the trebles just seem to be drying up here for James Wade. And Reyes is now looking at double 18 for a 4-1 lead. He's now looking at double 9.
Splitting.
Split it, oh, sensible.
28.
Yeah, well, even when he comes back, he knows he's going to have 3 darts because 8 will split down a couple of times.
100.
And he can have 6 if he wants.
He shot the fifth leg.
There is a 13 darts hold of throw for Cristo Reyes, and he absolutely raced through that leg as well. That was blink of an eye stuff from Cristo Reyes. Terrific scoring.
Yeah, the winner of this one would take on Daryl Gurney, and I know that Gurney's a seeded player, the number 5 seed in fact. But you have to say that James Wade would probably be the most feared competitor in that section of the draw. So having seen the withdrawal of Rob Cross opening one section up, The departure of James Wade would really blow another section wide open.
100. $135.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Gurney fares this weekend. Now the Premier League is not a distraction for him. Often this season on the European Tour, he's been perhaps looking ahead to Thursday as well. He's been on the back of a Thursday night in the Premier League, and then he's been looking forward to another night in the Premier League as well the following Thursday. But now that's out of the way, he may just come into this with a bit of a different...
100.
Yeah, well, if you look at Kerwin Price, an example, he reached the final not long after being eliminated, didn't he?
That's a classic example, yeah. Thank you very much, Chris. James Wade, 85, so double 80.
85.
Moved the wire, and this time he's got a little bit in hand. But Reyes on his shoulder.
140.
Yeah, very much on his shoulder here as well. James Wade has very little, well, he has got no margin for error, you feel, here with this double 18. And he pings it before 2. And you just get the impression with this one, it might just take another twist and turn.
Well, I think this is an important leg, the important leg perhaps, because once Reyes is one from the finishing line, you fancy him to get match darts, and he's been finishing well. But if James Wade can break here, and then hang on to his throat, all of a sudden there might be a bit of tungsten tension for the Tenerife man.
That's lovely stuff from Reyes. Loads of room for one more.
140.
Some 40 though will do, because it just forces Wade's hand once again here.
100.
Averaging just over 100 at the moment, Cristo Reyes. Helped by some fairly proficient finishing as well today. 4 from 8 attempts so far. There we see the first 9 average as well. Bit of a gulf between the two.
Well, Wade is well known for winning matches with a lower average, but this would be some going even by his standards, wouldn't it? 10 points the difference, although that margin is diminishing.
Now then, James, great chance. What's Reyes got in return here? No trouble so far.
100. You recall 121.
Wade looking at the 1-2-1 then. Opportunity. Treble 17 for the bullseye. Just misses out. Anxious glance there for James Wade.
97. So you require 80.
Well, this would be a very important hold of throw for Cristo Reyes. He's now looking at double 5, and it is an important hold of throw, and you can see what it means to Cristo Reyes there as well. He leads 5-2, and Wade misses another opportunity to find this all-important break of throw, and the opportunities are running out here. Reyes won't be too bothered if he loses this leg. He'd like to wrap it up as soon as he can, but of course he does have a little bit in hand anyway.
Well, we said, or I said in the last leg, that if Reyes wins it, you'd expect him to get match darts. We have seen players miss match darts today and go on to lose.
190.
And there you see Tony Alcinas in Camp Reyes and Steve Moxeshead, James Wade's manager.
96.
Great camaraderie between the Spanish players. I know that pair and Jose Justicia travel around and really support each other.
Yeah, and Alcinas has had a bit of a wait for this match as well. He was on second today, wasn't he, against Dragutin Horvat? And here he is, last match of the night, still hanging around. I think he's had a change of clothes today, so we'll give him his due.
138 then. Doesn't have to go.
Well, no, it doesn't have to. But you just feel as though Wade needs a little bit of something just to get himself going again.
90.
Just to get the juices flowing again.
126.
The 8 tops. No doubts. Usually no doubt about the outcome.
Pursed lips from Wade. That's on target. 5-3, but this is where he has to find a break. He's got to win the next 3 legs. Otherwise, it's For the first time this year, a first round exit on the European tour for James Wade.
140.
Yeah, I mentioned that friendship between Alcinas and Reyes. Of course, they drew each other in the first round at the World Championship.
100.
A fixture that they're both regarded as a nightmare draw.
100.
And what might have started off for a bit of a nightmare for the Spanish pair after Alcinas was beaten by Dragutin Horvat
100.
in the second match of the afternoon might end in a dream, with Reyes toppling James Wade.
140.
Well, Reyes has a nice cushion to work with here.
Got to find two trebles, James Wade. No other option.
Does now.
140.
Well, he's done that bit, but he's still got to hope that Reyes misses.
And then he's still got to take out 161 as well. So there's a lot of hits here for James Wade. Reyes was looking for treble 17 there, but he's still got a little bit of room for manoeuvre here. This would be one heck of a steal if Wade takes this out. 161, here we go. Well, there's the first part of the equation. But the second is absent.
He had the first two ifs wrong, but the third one wasn't forthcoming.
So you require 24.
He's been superb on doubles in this match, Cristo Reyes, but the one to win the game can be different.
No score.
Well,
You require
what a
24.
potentially big moment that is in the destiny of this match. James Wade still has to find double 12 himself. This is anxious times for Cristo Reyes. Double 6, and it's just outside the wire, and that could well and should well be that.
So you
It's
require
been wonderful Wade on the European Tour in 2018, but it has not gone his way today. Cristo Reyes toppling last weekend's beaten finalist on the Euro Tour, and he moves through to the second round. And I tell you what, Rob Cross withdrawing from the tournament, Adrian Lewis out, James Wade defeated. That's before the seeded players enter the tournament tomorrow. Cristo Reyes moves through. We have another jam-packed day of action here at the Dutch Darts Masters on Saturday before the tournament concludes on Sunday with another two sessions. We're going to have a crowd of around 4,000. Make sure you join us again tomorrow.
En dat is ook meteen de laatste winnaar van vandaag.